For thousands of years I lay dormant. Who has disturbed my...
Hey, best buddy!
Oh, it's you.
Guardian monsters. What a concept!
Hello, my fellow hunters, and today I want to talk about guardians. Chiefly, their infinite potential. Because I think they might be the single cleverest silver bullet monster mechanic Capcom have ever done. We've had, of course, a lot in the past. Starting with your basic subspecies, going into your rare species, something like Deviants 2, hell, even the apexes in Rise.
Yes, there is a Rathalos for each of them. Oh my god!
In any case, we now have Guardians as the latest in a long line of what if monster but different. And it is distinctly different from Hyper or Frenzy or Tempered or Afflicted. That's just a monster in a state, right? It's not its own distinct entry into the official list of monsters. Whereas Guardian, of course, is. Now, they are fascinating enough just as their existence lore-wise. Artificial creations by ancient Wyvria to serve as guards, soldiers, servants. They don't have reproductive organs, they don't have a digestive system, they have blue flesh and blue blood. They are built for purpose, literally, and that's absolutely wild. Now, clearly, they still retain natural instinct. That's why Guardian Ebony Odogaron was chosen to guard the Worm's Way, because it still has that hunter drive and its territorial protectiveness, which I think is really, really cool. Whether that's just something that you can't eliminate even when you make an artificial version of a monster, or it was deliberately kept, is a big question. But I don't want today to talk about that side of things, as royally exciting as that is. Oh, I've wanted an ancient civilization canon mainline game forever! I want to talk about the mechanical implications of this cast of creature existing in Monster Hunter. So we have 6 Guardians currently in game. 4 I would label as the main Guardians, those being your Doshagama, your Rathalos, your Fulguranginath, and your Ebony Odogaron. Then we have Guardian Arkveld, who had essentially a cameo and then has forever been forgotten, and then Shia, who I have no doubt will make a return, but is clearly the ultimate Guardian. It has moves from Black Dragons, from Safi, from Shara, from Geismagon. He is a whole mess of wonderfulness to dig into, but again, mustn't get sidetracked. Oh my god! And his existence implies that they can just create a new creature entirely by blending others. I doubt there is a non-Guardian Zoshia running around, for example. That is like an artificial Guardian, which is a whole other layer, which means technically at any point they could just throw a new monster at us that, yes, from our perspective is just a new monster, but from the world's perspective is just another invented Guardian creature, so that's just ridiculous. And at that point, you're unbound by naturalistic rules. You can just kind of go wild, even more than the sort of Elder Dragon or Black Dragon ticket lets you do. So that's a whole other side of things. At any point, we could just get a ridiculous new Guardian combination. But a new Guardian is kind of where I'm going with this, because I feel like we've not seen the last of them. Outside of a return of Zoshia, or maybe a return of Guardian Arkveld, the idea that at no point through all of Wilds' life cycle across the title updates into a Master Rank expansion, we're not going to get a 7th Guardian and beyond, that just seems both unlikely and a colossal waste. And I do mean colossal. So, Zoshia being clearly an Elder Dragon Guardian, I think that's the fairest way to put him, means that Elder Dragon level is clearly on the table. Then let's look at the others. Guardian Arkveld is a Guardian version of a new monster to us, but in the world of Monster Hunter, a previously thought to be extinct creature that we're meeting in Guardian form before meeting in non-Guardian form, which is a really fun way around to do it. So again, there is just that possibility of them adding a new monster and then giving us a Guardian version of it. Like, imagine if Mizutsune secretly comes with Guardian Mizutsune, with, like, Guardian soap milk. Maybe the less we talk about that, the better. In any case, it's the other 4 that really excite me. So out of them, only 2 are seemingly native to the Forbidden Lands. You have Doshagama, of course, who is from the Windward Plains, occasionally wandering into the Scarlet Forest, and then Rathalos, who likes the Scarlet Forest because it's a forest and, you know, hot basin. But Rathalos is a widespread creature. Him and Rathian can coexist and nest in any sort of environment that is anywhere near the kind they prefer. They are found all over the Monster Hunter world. Of course, that's because it's Rathalos and Rathian and they have to be in every game, but in universe it makes sense. They are adaptable, hardy, they can fly long distances, and they can make nests all across the world. So them being here is like, yeah, of course they are, that makes sense. Whereas the other 2, Guardian Ebony Odogaron and Guardian Fulgur raise many more questions. So they are clearly not native creatures to the Forbidden Lands. There's no Anjanaths, Fulgur, there's no Odogarons, Ebony Odogarons running around. So, this means 2 things. Number 1, that ancient Wyvria still knew about them. Or they used to be native in the Forbidden Lands and have since been wiped out or moved on. I think number 1 is more likely given the context of this powerful ancient civilization that has access to a literal infinite energy source. And given the size of the city and their ability to project power, them having research and knowledge of the world at large is completely reasonable, and evidenced again by Anjanath and Odogaron. They either knew about them, they either captured specimens. I mean, the process of taking monster and then making Guardian version is of course quite... Seemingly they are grown from eggs, we see that they hatch from the cocoons, but how you get the correct Guardian baby in the cocoon and make it the real monster, well, that's a whole other question. Obviously, in real life, we have created cloned animals from DNA, grown them, like the famous Dolly the sheep, so I imagine it's more fantasy kind of fair in that regard. In any case, they have the ability to create guardians of monsters not native to the lands around Wyvria, and they know what properties these monsters will have. They chose Odogaron again for its speed, its scent tracking, its territory aggression as the perfect literal guard dog. So that then implies that for any given purpose or reason, they can flick through all the creatures they have knowledge of and whip up a Guardian version. All of this is to say, it's very convincing justification for Capcom to essentially go, hey, no real explanation needed, here, have a Guardian anything. And that's so ridiculously exciting. There isn't a single monster that could show up in Guardian form that we could go, that doesn't make sense, that's a bit weird. And is that not genius? Because we know that the mainline team cares so much about the ecology, the nature, the detail. They choose monsters based on what would make sense in the world that they have created for this given Monster Hunter game. And now, any monster can make sense if it comes in Guardian form. We don't need the base version to be in the game. Hell, it doesn't even need to be a base version. We've gone from no Odogaron or Anjanath presence all the way to a Guardian version of their subspecies, which is just kinda ludicrous when you think about it, and something that we've wanted for ages, the ability to just be like, fuck it, just put in a version of a monster, we don't need the base to be there. Kinda like your Crimson Glow Valstrax treatment. And that's kind of happening via Guardianification. So we now have the potential in any given title update or master rank expansion to see a guardian of any given monster with very little justification, or without having another version of it present in any of the other maps, again with no justification. Which then follows on to, oh my god, what kind of guardians could we get? What could we see? Because again, I think it's very unlikely we're going to get exactly 0 more. Like, there's just too much potential. Even without them being on a new map or a new section of Wyvria or anything, you just have them come out the cocoons. There's enough cocoons everywhere that any kind of thing could be in there. We've just woken more up. We've just found more. It's like the smoothest, easiest slam dunk to just go wild and put any monster in the game and have it not be questioned in the slightest. And I think it is both brilliant and genius, and it's so exciting. Like, you know, someone has gone, what if we just have like a Guardian Rajang or Devil Joe flop out the wall? Because so far, outside of Arkveld and Shia, the Guardians have been fairly kinda tame, sort of mid-level-y monsters in the grand scheme of things, even Rathalos. So the idea of getting a Guardian version of something properly threatening, we know they can make, well, Black Dragon level monsters with Shia, so anything's kind of on the table. There's no reason to think that a Guardian Elder Dragon couldn't happen, because let's be honest, Shia basically is a Guardian Elder Dragon. So there lies the real kinda ooh. So for me, I think the most perfect candidate really kind of would be Nergigante. The idea of him guardian up, the spikes, the glowing with the blue-purple lines going through, that in guardian form would be magnificent. And the thing is, he is built up and known to be this ultimate ecosystem balancer leveler. His taking out of Shara, for example. So making a Guardian version of him as the ultimate soldier monster would line up really nicely. It'd be a lovely, like, yeah, for everyone that joined with World. It would be a really fun fight. It would give a meaty Elder Dragon with a physical moveset into the game, and technically it still wouldn't even be an Elder Dragon because he'd still be classified as a Guardian. And I think you could use that to really, really good effect, and everyone would be happy about it. And truthfully, there's a lot of monsters that you could make this argument for. Obviously, something near and dear to my heart, Brachydios, would be great with, I don't know how Guardian Milk Slime would work. Again, not something I ever expected to say, but it really does let you play around and have fun. Because to me, every title update could have like a main headline normal monster get added, and then like 1 to 3 extra little Guardian boys sort of just shoved in, and even if they all have to be monsters that were in either World, Iceborne, Rise, or Sunbreak because they're already done and easy to convert over to Wilds, that would still be some lovely variety to keep kind of getting added, and seeing their armor sets Guardianified would also be really, really cool. So I think bottom line, Guardians are just so exciting, not because of their context within the world, which, yeah, is so exciting, but because of what it lets Capcom do when it comes to adding more monsters to the game, because truly, everything is on the table. From the smallest, least threatening creature, all the way to essentially any Elder Dragon. And that is kinda nuts. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know which Guardian you would most like to see flop out of an egg near you. And for now, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. And until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.